Hi there, it's been a while. So you probably know what One Theme from Ableton is. It's one series that the official channel from Ableton does, which is super useful. In this series, they invite one artist to explain one specific thing that they like to do with Ableton. This thing can be like a composition technique, sound design technique, you name it. And these videos are normally very straightforward and they are very useful. I have watched probably all of them and I love them so much. So in this video, I just wanted to compile my favorite ones to show you which are the techniques that I find myself using that I learned from these videos. Each of the videos that I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you how I do my own twist to that technique. And hopefully it will be useful to you. So without more further ado, let's dive into it.
Is to apply a chorus to a sine wave. First I load a sine wave into Simpler. I set a short decay time and add a high pass filter. Then I add a chorus, just the default settings. It makes the sound shimmer and creates a stereo image.
If I just do the technique that was shown in that video, it would be something like this. Here we have EQ8, and here you can select where you cut the frequency. This is essentially a filter, and now it's like high pass mode filter. But here you can shape the sound a little bit. And here is where my own twist comes. What I do is to add an envelope follower and an auto filter. So what I do is to match the envelope follower to the feedback of the chorus, to the frequency of the auto filter, and also to the resonance of the auto filter, and it sounds super crazy. It sounds almost like water. So check this out. Now you can play a little bit with the rate. You can also play with how much you want to match it. And you know, this is pretty unstable, it can go crazy at any time.
Hey, I'm Harvey, and one thing I like to do is use gated noise to create textured artifacts in my music. Here I have a MIDI track with the synth playing some chords. I auditioned some samples from my noise collection, which I've recorded earlier from various sources like my Tascam Porta 1. When I find one I like, I drag it into my session, and this creates an audio. I insert a gate on that track and sidechain it to my MIDI chord track. Now each time the synth is triggered, a small burst of noise is released. I disable fixed grid on my noise clip and change the loop region so a different piece of noise is triggered each time. This makes it less predictable. Finally, I group the noise track with the MIDI chord track. This way I can apply effects to the entire sound. I love this trick because it's fast, it makes my sounds more textured, and it gives my software synths that little vintage vibe.
So this technique looks so simple yet so useful to me. I found myself using it a lot of times just to add a little bit more texture into my tracks. The only thing that I do differently than this artist is to add a little bit of random EQ in, so every burp of noise is a little bit different. So what I do for that is just to get a LFO, set it to random. As you see here, I set it to random. You can play with the different parameters of the EQ. You can play with the different parameters of the LFO, and then I match those values into different values of the EQ8. So as you see here, the EQ is kind of randomly being modified as it goes. So I mean, that's the only thing I do differently, and this is how it sounds if I just do the same thing. These are my chords. And this is the song. Pretty simple, right? So to the next one.
Hello, I'm Yukasi Honda, and one thing I like to do is create drum variations using MIDI effects. First, I right-click on the audio clip on my track titled Drums and select Convert Drums to New MIDI Track. Now I have a new drum track playing MIDI notes from a drum rack based on the original drums, which adds a nice organic flam. Next, I add note echo to the MIDI drums track and adjust delay time until it feels right. When I also adjust the pitch, it changes the sounds that are being triggered. I create another MIDI track and copy the clip from the first one and add a drum synth along with another note echo device.
To me, the main takeaway here is that it's a very cool idea to just get a random drum loop and put it into MIDI and then change some sounds and try different stuff. Actually, I don't think you have to go into so much detail into how you shape every sound because everybody's different, and I think it's very nice that she shared her own process, but I think you can find yours as well. What I did here is just to find different sounds by doing that method, taking an audio file and then put it into MIDI and then trying to find different sounds for the different MIDI triggers. But that's about it. I think that's the main takeaway of this video, and I found myself using it a lot because sometimes I hear a drum loop that I like, but I don't want to use exactly the same, and then I try to find something similar or something very different but based in that drum loop that I really liked. So I just came up with these two drums that I added to the little track that I'm doing for this video. In here I'm using a snare synth, and in this one I'm using just a hi-hat. And then all together
Hi, I'm Tom, and one thing I like to do is combine several variations of a loop to get something more exciting. I start with a MIDI clip, like this bass line. I resample it to a new audio track. Duplicate it, and remove the audio from the duplication. Now I choose another sound, resample it, and repeat the process about 10 times. I chop up each individual note and select and disable them all. Finally, I combine different notes by enabling them individually until I have something that sounds unique.
Honestly, I don't even know how I didn't come up with this by myself in the first place, because I love evolving sounds. I love sounds that don't feel all the time the same throughout the song, and I never thought of this. And when I ran into this video, I was like, man, this is such a great idea. I've never actually thought about it, so it was very nice. The only thing that I want to add to what he said is only that I use this a lot with pigments, and that is because they have such a nice presets and it's so easy to navigate between them. So if you just create an instance of pigment like so, and you put some notes like I have here, then you can navigate through the presets just like this. And then it's very easy to just create a bunch of tracks and record the different presets and try what sounds in the different parts. So that is a very nice idea and I use it a lot. That's the only thing I would like to add, that it works very well with synthesizers like pigments, and these synthesizers where you can navigate very easily through the presets. And if you know which presets you like, then you can record a bunch of them and just make it sound together. I mean, here for example I have this little example, and then you can switch very easily between them. This really kind of sucks, but I just wanted to show you how it can be done. But this is a very great method to use to have like evolving sounds and not go too crazy into LFOs, envelope followers, like automation. This keeps the session much cleaner and easy to see what's going on. So thumbs up for that. So that was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was useful to you. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see similar content, and see you in the next one. Peace.